Hello dear friends. In this video, we are going to learn or discuss about the limit test. After watching this video, students will be able to restate the principle involved in limit test. Students will be able to carry out the limit test and interpret the results obtained in the same limit test. Limit test is nothing but quantitative or semi-quantitative test designed to identify and control small quantities of impurity which are likely to be present in the substance. Impurity is nothing but any material that affects the purity of material. As let it be any material, it may be made up from natural sources or synthetic sources. It will be containing some other material which will be called as impurity, and this impurity sometime may be harmful, may not be harmful. 100% purification is very costly affair, hence 100% purification is not done. Now we will think about what are the impurities which are likely to be present in the pharmaceuticals, that is drugs and the excipients. You have to enlist them. I think you have enlisted them, so we'll move ahead. The impurities may be inorganic or the impurities may be heavy metals. So impurities like chloride, sulfate, iron, these are not that much harmful, and the impurities like heavy metals, that is containing lead, arsenic, mercury, titanium, etc. are harmful or toxic in nature. So we have to determine the exact quantity or whether the quantity of impurity present inside the sample is up to the decided mark or not. This mark is nothing but the limit test. So first we will see the limit test for chloride. For limit test for chloride, we will be requiring the Nessler cylinder. Nessler cylinder is the apparatus looking like the test tube only, which will be having two marks, that is one will be of 25 ml, one will be of 50 ml. Along with it, two glass rods and one stand for the Nessler cylinder will be required. Chemicals: dilute nitric acid, silver nitrate and 0.0584% weight by volume sodium chloride. The limit test for chloride is based upon the reaction between silver nitrate and soluble chlorides. The opalescence will be produced due to the formation of AgCl, which is a precipitate which will be gets uniformly distributed and it produces the opalescence instead of the precipitate getting settled down at the bottom. Thus, this will be known as opalescence. So, the opalescence produced in the test solution is compared with the standard solution. If the opalescence is less than standard, then the sample passes the test. If the opalescence produced is more than standard, then it fails the test. Dilute HNO3 is acting as a catalyst for this reaction. Now we will see exactly how the experiment is occurring. For this, we have to take two Nessler cylinder which will be labeled as test and standard. For test solution preparation, we need is the sample. The sample will be either specified quantity or it may be taken 1 gram. Then it will be dissolved in water and then after dissolution it will be transferred to Nessler cylinder. Then for standard solution 1 ml of sodium chloride solution will be taken. Then we have to add dilute HNO3 in standard as well as in the test solution. 10 ml quantity is added. Then the volume is adjusted up to 50 ml by using distilled water in test as well as in the standard solution. After this, 1 ml of silver nitrate solution is added in standard and in the test. due to addition of silver nitrate. Now the volume will become 51 ml, and we have to check that the opalescence produced in the test solution, whether the opalescence is more than standard or less than standard. If the opalescence produced in the test solution due to the reaction between chloride impurity and silver nitrate is less, then this sample passes the limit test. If it produces more opalescence, then this sample did not passes the limit test. Then we'll see the limit test for sulfate. Here we'll requiring again the Nessler cylinder, glass rod stand. Now the chemicals: dilute HCl, barium sulfate reagent and 0.0189% weight by volume of potassium sulfate solution. For preparation of barium sulfate reagent, we require barium sulfate, barium chloride, sulfate free alcohol. Due to these combination, the limit test for sulfate will be made superior. Now, it involves the principle that the sulfate impurity which is present inside the test as well as in the standard, that sulfate will be reacting with the barium chloride which is present in the barium sulfate reagent, and it forms barium sulfate. Now, the potassium sulfate which is used, that increases the sensitivity of the reaction, and sulfate free alcohol, it avoids the supersaturation. Here the barium sulfate is going to form a turbidity in the test and in the standard solution. If the turbidity produced in the sample is less than standard, then it passes the limit test. If it is more, then it fails the test. Let us see the experiment. Again here we are going to have two Nessler cylinder. One will be designated as test, one will be designated as standard. Now again weigh the sample, dissolve it in water, transfer it to the Nessler cylinder. For standard solution, take standard solution potassium sulfate, then add 2 ml of dilute HCl in standard as well as 2 ml of dilute HCl in the test solution. Then take 5 ml of standard barium sulfate reagent in standard and as well as in the test, and then adjust the volume up to 50 ml by using distilled water. After adjusting the volume up to 50 ml, the turbidity produced in the test solution will be compared with the turbidity produced in the standard. If the turbidity produced in the test solution is less than standard, then it passes the limit test. If the turbidity produced in the test solution is more, then the sample fails the test. The next one is the limit test for iron. The requirement of the apparatus are same. Again the chemical are some additional, that is ammonia solution, thioglycolic acid, citric acid and standard iron solution. It involves the reaction between the iron and the thioglycolic acid, and it forms the ferrous thioglycolate complex. This ferrous thioglycolate complex is purple in color. Hence, in the limit test for iron, there we have to compare the color intensity. This color will be pink to purple in a shade. This ferrous thioglycolate complex is colorless in acidic or neutral medium, and it is stable in alkaline media, hence ammonia is added. The citric acid will not allow the precipitation of iron by ammonia, because ammonia is going to react with the iron and it will have the chelate formation. This chelate formation will be avoided by addition of citric acid. If the color intensity produced in the test solution is less than standard, then it passes the limit test and vice versa. Here again also we will check actually what is happening in the experiment. Take 1 gram of sample, dissolve it in some quantity of water and put this mixture into the Nessler cylinder labeled as test. Then take 1 ml of 2 ml of standard iron solution, 2 ml of citric acid. 2 ml of citric acid will be transferred to the test solution as well. Then 0.1 ml of thioglycolic acid or 2 drops of thioglycolic acid will be added in the test and in the standard solution. Then add ammonia to make the solution alkaline and adjust the volume up to 50 ml. If it is not alkaline, then again we have to add ammonia, and before it become alkaline, we should check. We can see that the color in the standard is purple, and in the test solution, if the color intensity is less than this color intensity, then we will say that the sample passes the limit test. If the color intensity produced in the test solution is more than this intensity, then the sample fails the test. Thank you.